Yo, you action figure enthusiasts out there, JC here with another TNINews video. And as always, we've got a lot to cover today, so let's just jump right into it. And we'll start off with a little bit of Star Wars news for you guys on the Lego front. So this week, an overseas retailer posted up some images of 3 new sets, which should be out around March of this year. And the 3 sets include a new version of Poe Dameron's X-Wing with the blue markings. This is set number 75297, and will feature minifigures of Poe Dameron and BB-8. Then we're getting for the Microfighter line, set number 75298, which will include a Tauntaun versus AT-AT. And this will have minifigures of Luke Skywalker in his Hoth gear and an AT-AT driver. And then the final set shown was a new Imperial shuttle, set number 75302, and that'll feature minifigures of Darth Vader, Luke Skywalker from Return of the Jedi, and an Imperial pilot. And again, all 3 of these sets should be out around March of this year. And then the other bit of Star Wars news I have for you guys is just to let you know that next Friday, you'll want to mark your calendars for next Friday, which is January 29th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Hasbro will be kicking off their live stream Fan Friday video series with some new Star Wars reveals. So this will be the first live stream event that Hasbro's held for the new year. And again, they're kicking it off with Star Wars. Looks like the focus is going to be on 50th anniversary Lucasfilm products, but what exactly that entails, I'm not entirely sure. There's been a number of rumors that have been floated out there, which hopefully we'll get at least confirmation of a few of those. But again, exactly what they'll be showing, I'm sure there'll be some Black Series and Vintage Collection stuff, but we'll have to wait and see exactly what it is. And of course, as things are revealed, we'll be sure to update you on Jedi Insider, or you can of course go to the Hasbro Pulse YouTube channel. That's where they'll hold the live stream event. And then later in the day, I'll probably do a news video going over everything they talked about. For you Masters of the Universe and WWE fans, we've got a look at the next wave of mashup figures from Mattel, the Masters of the WWE line, which is a Walmart exclusive. This is the 6th wave in this series. So in this wave, we are going to be seeing versions of Goldberg, which looks like has a Ram Man type getup with him. Then we're getting Kane, which looks like kind of like a trap jaw type feature with the hands and such. Kane to me is kind of the coolest looking one of these. Then we're getting another version of Ultimate Warrior. So this one has a cape, which looks pretty cool. And then the final figure, which I actually think is kind of funny, is an Evelyn version of Stephanie McMahon. And she comes with a similar mask like we saw with the Triple H figure. So Stephanie McMahon is entering the Masters of the WWE line. And these, again, will be Walmart exclusives and will be available sometime this year. Now, I wanted to update you on a story I talked about earlier in the week from McFarlane Toys for their DC Multiverse line. So this is in regards to those Batman Beyond figures. I told you how McFarlane had announced that they were doing 4 figures based on Batman Beyond, which included a Batman Beyond figure itself, Shrike, Batwoman Beyond, and Blight. And I told you how all 4 figures would be released over the course of the year, and then each figure would include a Build-A-Figure piece to complete the Joker bot, or specifically it's named the Batman Futures End Build-A-Figure. So since then, since I talked about that earlier in the week, McFarlane has since come out and indicated that these 4 figures will be exclusive to Target. And then the other thing that wasn't made entirely clear before is that there actually is going to be 2 versions of the Batman Beyond figure released. So you may recall that we got the first announcement of a Batman Beyond figure being released for the Multiverse line last year. And that is actually a separate figure from the one that's being included in this wave. So the big difference is you've got 2 different head sculpts. The Target exclusive version with the Build-A-Figure piece is going to have the mouth covered. And then the single release that should, I believe, be released everywhere is more cartoon accurate, where you can actually see his mouth and everything. You also get some blast effect pieces that you can plug into his feet with the single release, and both come with batarangs and such in multiple hands. But there are 2 Batman Beyond figures. One is a Target exclusive that will be part of a Build-A-Figure wave with that Batman Futures End, which we've just got some new images of today, which you can see has the head where you can turn it, and it either has Batman's face or Joker's face. and then there will be a single release of Batman Beyond, which again I believe will be released everywhere. Now the Batman Beyond that's the Target exclusive will be out in April, and then the regular version will be out in May sometime. For you Invader Zim fans, Diamond Select Toys has announced that they are going to be doing action figures based on that property. They're going to be releasing 2-packs. These figures are said to be between 3 and 4 inches tall, and these will start hitting in June of this year, hitting comic and specialty shops. They are available for pre-order now at places like our sponsor, Big Bad Toy Store. We got some updated images for the Mayfax The Boys Homelander figure. So with these images, we get to see the accessories that are included with it. So you get 3 different head sculpts with this figure. You get one with the red eyes, so it looks like he's about to shoot his heat vision. You don't actually get, it doesn't look like we get actual heat vision that comes out of the eyes, but you get the eyes that are turning red. And then you get a smiley, happy face, and then you get an angry face. You also get 2 different chest pieces, so one with his the tunic that's kind of folded down, and then one that is not. You get the soft goods cape, and the figure also appears to come with multiple pairs of hands. So this figure is slated for release in November of next year, and pre-orders will be going up probably within the next few days. An update to another story I talked about earlier in the week. So I mentioned how it looked like Super7 was possibly teasing a Thundertank. They had posted a teaser late last Friday, which, you know, it was hard to tell if they were actually teasing a product or what. And then if it was a Thundertank, it was unclear whether it would be something for the reaction line or for the Ultimate 7-inch scale line. Well, just yesterday, they put out another tease on their social media. They put a little snippet of an old interview that they had done with Pixel Dan, where they were actually talking about the possibility of doing an Ultimates Thundertank for the 7-inch scale figures. So with that, I've got to assume that almost all but guarantees that they are, in fact, going to be doing an Ultimate 7-inch scale Thundertank. We'll have to wait for the official announcement, which hopefully will be coming soon, but that definitely seems to be what they are indicating. My guess is they'll probably do it as some type of crowdsourcing deal. And what the price is, I'm sure it's going to be pretty hefty, being, you know, the figures themselves are $40 each. And, you know, it's a good bet that the price will be hefty. But I'm excited to hear more on this. I would love to see a nicely detailed 7-inch scale Thundertank to go along with the figures. Now, I know a lot of people, you know, they're upset that we've only got one wave of figures. You know, they talked about previously in some old interviews that the second wave, you know, basically they changed factories between wave 1 and wave 2. You know, the first wave was done from the same factory that Mattel had been using, but they just were not getting good service from them, so they switched factories. It's the same factory now that has been doing their turtle figures, but because of the switch, that caused a delay. And then this month, or I should say next month, is the New Year's, Chinese New Year's holiday, where, you know, everyone takes off for a long period of time. And so they had indicated that they didn't expect the second wave of figures to ship until after that holiday. So that essentially translates to probably March timeframe. So I know there's a long delay between wave 1 and wave 2. They did say, you know, after wave 2, then things should pick up and we should start seeing, you know, other waves release much sooner. But again, I know a lot of people are like, well, I want to see more figures before I worry about a Thundertank. But again, I'm excited to hear more. I do kind of dread what the price is going to be on this Thundertank, but I am excited to hear more and see more on what they have in store for us. Now, while we're on the subject of Super 7, this week they also announced a second wave of Conan the Barbarian movie Ultimates figures. So they are doing 2 more figures for this line. So we're getting another version of Conan himself with the war paint. And then we are also getting the Tulsa Doom character with the snake head. So that's probably the cooler of the 2 figures here. Though, you know, who doesn't like Arnold as Conan, right? But you get with the Doom figure, you get a human face, a snake face, and then you get one with the snake head coming out of the cloak or the hood that he wears. So that one to me is definitely a pretty cool one. Now these are available for pre-order now at places like our sponsor Big Bad Toy Store, and they're slated for release towards the end of this year. For you G.I. Joe fans, Flame Toys seems to be continuing to expand their G.I. Joe line. So I had previously talked about how they had announced that they were doing a Snake Eyes figure for their Curie line. Well, now they've announced 2 more G.I. Joe figures, which are based on their model kit figures, the Furai. I may be mispronouncing that, but these figures tend to be the figure they announced previously. Those were a little bit larger, whereas these tend to be more in the range of 5 to 6. These, they've been doing Transformer figures for this line, and and I'm basing this on what the Transformer figures have been. They've been around 5 to 6 inches for the most part, and they have about said to have about 40 or 50 moving parts to them. Now, with the 2 images that they released, you can see we're getting Snake Eyes, a version of Snake Eyes, and then Storm Shadow as well, which seems to be sporting kind of a classic look here with the bow and arrow and his swords and everything. So, these are obviously unpainted early, renderings of the figures. So, no specific details have been released. But again, based on the Transformers ones that they've done for this line, these probably will cost in the neighborhood of $40 to $50. And hopefully more specific details on these G.I. Joe versions will be released soon. For you wrestling fans, Jazzwares this week confirmed the 4th wave of AEW figures that will be coming. Now, they have not yet released any images for these figures, but those should be coming, within the next few weeks. They said they are currently working on images for these figures. So the confirmed figures are Santana, Ortiz, Matt Hardy, Sammy Guevara, I think that's how you pronounce his name, Cody Rhodes, and Kenny Omega. I don't have any kind of release dates or anything like that, but again, images for these figures will probably be hitting the net within the next few weeks. Okay, and then finally for Marvel, so first of all, we've gotten some new updated images for the upcoming Mayfax Avengers Infinity War Doctor Strange figure. So we had seen some initial images for this figure during one of their virtual events a couple months ago, but with these new images, we can see the accessories that are being included with the figure. So you get 2 different head sculpts with this one. You get the soft goods cape. You get 2 versions of the Eye of Agamotto. You get one that is open and one that is closed. You get some multiple arms that you can attach to the back of the figure so you can mimic one of his magic moves from the movie. You get 2 disc shields, yellow disc shields. You get 1 yellow magic effect, conjuring effect piece. You get 3 different sets of green ring disc pieces that you can put around his arms. You also have a couple of yellow ring ones that you can put on his arms. You get a magic sword, and then you also get the straps or the wrap pieces that, again, from one of the magic moves that he used during the Infinity War movie. So this figure, like the Homelander figure that I talked about previously, is due out in November and should be going up for pre-order in the very near future. Okay, and then finally, I've got some new Hasbro Marvel Legend assortment listings that I wanted to share with you. A big thanks to JT Prime for the heads up on these. Now, these come from a Canadian distributor named Everest. We've seen some early listings from these guys before last year. I believe they were the first ones to list the Eternals Marvel Legend figures. But this year we've got some additional listings. Now the details on these listings are pretty vague, but they do shed a few clues to some things that we can expect to see this year. So first of all, we've got listings for the Marvel Legends retro figures, 3 3/4 inch retro figures. So Hasbro had previously announced that they were going to be expanding those, that they first offered, through Hasbro Pulse, but they were going to be offering those figures, start doing those figures as a regular retail release. So we've got further indication of that. Now there's just the regular retro assortment, and then there's a second listing on there that says wave 4 with the same numbers. So I don't know if that means we can actually expect 4 different waves of these retro figures being released this year. If I had to guess, that's what it means, but I won't say that 100%. But it would make sense that we would see at least 4 of these waves released over the course of the year. But again, those those are the minimum articulated figures with kind of classic card backs. Not really based on any old real toy line, but kind of made up to look like what if 5 points of articulated figures back in the day or what have you. So I don't have any specific details on what figures we can expect to see, but again, do look for those to start hitting retail probably within the next few months. Then there's a listing for what is Fantastic Four retro assortment. So this has long been rumored that we are going to be getting a wave of retro Fantastic Four figures on the classic Toy Biz card backs. These are 6-inch figures. No specific details on what figures to be included, but it definitely looks like we are getting an entire wave of retro figures from Fantastic Four. Last year we got the Doctor Doom figure with the retro card back. Now, retro figures, these types of retro figures generally do not have Build-A-Figures to them, so I don't expect there to be a Build-A-Figure. I would guess, and this is just a guess, but I would guess that we will see the Fantastic Four members released in this line, possibly with classic Fantastic Four costumes. But again, that's just a guess on my part, and then we'll probably see a few other figures released in the assortment as well. But definitely, if you've been hoping for Fantastic Four retro figures, that looks like is coming. Then there's a listing for a Black Widow 2-pack. Now, I don't know if this is movie-based or comic book-based. Oftentimes, if it's something movie-related, it does indicate so, but I really don't know. Now, it's not surprising to me that they aren't going to try and get something Black Widow related out this year. You may recall that the Black Widow figures for the movie that was supposed to be out last year hit shelves, but then the movie got delayed and has yet to be released at this point. Right now, it's on track to be released in May, but we could even see that change. So, but it's not surprising that perhaps Hasbro is going to try and get something out for the movie, just so there's some product out there on shelves when the movie actually is released. But whatever this is, there's some type of 2-pack, no specific details, and again, I don't know if this is comic book based or movie based. Then there is a Marvel Legends Classic assortment, and again, there's not enough here for me to even really fathom a guess of what it is. So, like I said, I really don't know what that could be. And then finally, we've got probably the most interesting listing here for me is what is called a Marvel Legends or Marvel Villains Legends. So it's something Marvel Legends related. Villains meaning it's a bad guy. And then it says W Skull. Now, I'm assuming, and generally when you just see the letter W in something like this, it's an abbreviation for the word with. So I'm assuming that means with skull. I know a lot of people, the first thought is a Red Skull figure, but because it says W Skull, I don't know. Based on what I know is coming this year, or based on intel that I've seen suggesting of what's coming this year, I've not seen anything that would suggest a Red Skull figure is coming. The closest thing based on intel I've seen that I could match up with this, I'm assuming this is a single release because it doesn't say assortment. Usually when it's a wave, this isn't I don't think this is meant to be the Bring on the Bad Guys wave because it doesn't say assortment. So I'm assuming this is a standalone figure. And the only thing that I know of that I've seen intel on that is coming, which of course we'll treat as rumor until Hasbro officially confirms, but the only thing that I could match up remotely to this is a deluxe figure, another $50 deluxe figure like the MODOK figure, based on the Maestro character, the Hulk character, who is a bad guy. This version of Hulk is a bad guy. So, and the only reason why I'm kind of remotely putting the two together is because when I think of that character, I think of that image of him holding up Iron Man's skull in his hand. So, if we argue again, I can't say that the listing that is on this Everest website is for this figure, but I can tell you that I feel pretty confident based on intel I've seen that there is in fact a deluxe figure based on this character coming. So we'll have to wait and see if that is actually what this is. But you can, if you've been wanting updated Marvel Legend version of this character, that should be coming this year regardless. And hopefully it'll be decked out with a lot of accessories. If it's got the $50 price tag, I would assume it will be. Hopefully it'll be a brand new sculpt, multiple heads possibly, things like the belt that had a lot of the trinkets from the Marvel superheroes on it. I would love to see on there. So, I don't know exactly what it's going to look like or what have you, but that one should be coming. And whether that's what this listing is for, again, we'll just have to wait and see. Now, finally, not Marvel Legend related, but I also just wanted to note that this Everest site had some listings for what they are showing as Mech Strike figures. So these, I'm guessing, are geared more towards the kids. They're basic type of figures that we often see them put out each year. These are 6-inch figures, and I'm guessing these are going to be based, or at least loosely based, on the comic book series from Marvel that they're putting out with the same name, Mech Strike. So essentially think of, Marvel superheroes in big type of mech armor type getup. So we're getting basic figures, we're getting a deluxe figure assortment, then we're getting an Infinity Thanos figure, and then finally some type of Mech Strike Captain America blaster, which is probably some type of role play item. Okay, so that's it for today. I'd love to hear your thoughts on everything I talked about in the comments section below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video, and if you're so inclined, like the video as well. As always, guys, stay safe out there, and until next time, I'll catch you later.
Hey, thanks for watching today's video, and be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and hit that bell notification so you're alerted every time I upload a new video. And be sure to head over to the Toy News International and Marvelous News message boards communities. It's a great place to talk toys and win cool contests like $100 store credits to Big Bad Toy Store. And remember, action figures are great.